I am Jasrul Hulug from Group 5 and I'm going to discuss the functions of muscular system. As an introduction, muscular system is composed of group of muscles composing the body. The scientific study of muscle is known as myology. Myo, muscle, logy, study of muscle. Now, let us going to discuss the functions of muscular system. First, body movements or mobility. Muscular system allows movements. Tendons and other connective tissues are used to secure muscles to the joints and skeleton during movement. The nervous system coordinates the contraction of the muscular system to synchronize the movement of the limbs. The smaller skeletal muscles are usually responsible for these actions. In these body movements, there are classified two movements. First, gross movement and second, fine movement. But first, let's go with the gross movement. Gross movement refers to large coordinated motions and includes walking, running, swimming. It is a large movement because it needs group of muscles to work for the movement. Examples here are walking, running, and swimming. As we can observe, in order to perform these various movements, it needs almost all muscles in muscular system to work or contract. For example, in running, as we can see in the figure, it mainly uses lower extremities for the movement. In order for the human to run as fast as he could, group of muscles work together such as gluteus maximus, tensor fasciae latae, iliotibial tract, vastus lateralis, and lateral condyle of tibia. This group of muscles work through contraction in order for the human to do movement. Second, for the fine movement, it involves smaller movements such as writing, eating, and with facial expressions. For the writing, it involves the intrinsic hand muscles which are located in the hand. Interosseous muscles located between the metacarpal bones are responsible for abduction and adduction of the fingers. Other intrinsic hand muscles are involved in the possible movements of the thumb and the fingers. These muscles account for the fleshy masses of the base of the thumb and little finger and the fleshy region between the metacarpal bones of the thumb and index finger. So, the interosseous muscles helps the index finger in the thumb to enable you to hold the pen and write something. Second, facial expression to express wide variety of emotions. For the facial expression, we can base it from the figure given, where the examples, for the first example, smiling. Smiling is accomplished primarily by the zygomaticus muscles, which elevate the upper lip and corner of the mouth, like this. This one is elevated in the corner of the mouth. And second, sneering. Sneering is accomplished by the levator labii superioris, which is located here. Because the muscle elevates one side of the upper lip. And for frowning and pouting, these are largely performed by the depressor anguli oris. Another example is the corrugator supercilii that draws eyebrow inferiorly and wrinkles skin of forehead vertically as in frowning. So it represents or it is responsible for frowning. The corrugator supercilii is in here. So if you frown, it elevates. Second function. Muscular system maintains posture and stability. Posture is the position in which we hold our bodies standing, sitting, or lying down. So, classmates, what do you think is the type of muscle mostly responsible for this process? Okay. Skeletal muscles control posture of the body. These muscles contract to hold the body still or in a particular position. The muscles responsible for the body's posture have the greatest endurance of all muscles in the body. It is because they hold up the body throughout the day without becoming red. Posture examples such as sitting and standing is maintained as a result of muscle contraction. The skeletal muscles are continually making fine adjustments that hold the body in stationary positions or stability. The tendons of these muscles extend over joints and in this way contribute to stability. Remember, stability is the muscles that are responsibly holding bones together. As we can see in the figure given, the posture is standing. So it needs group of muscles to maintain the posture and stability, such as quadriceps femoris and tibialis anterior in the lower extremities. On the other hand, to make the upper extremity to be intact or stable, it is mainly held together by erector spinae. And second, the Achilles tendon above either of your heels. These tendons help hold your body in a good posture or proper posture or shape so that you can stand on the ground. Third, the muscular system is responsible for the production of body heat and temperature regulation. The contraction of muscles produce heat through chemical changes involved in muscular activity, which maintains normal body temperature. Maintaining normal body temperature is important function of muscular system. Almost 85% of the heat a person generates in the body comes from contracting muscles. I have a question. What type of muscle is mainly responsible for the production of heat, which produces mostly of the heat? Okay. Skeletal muscles accounts at least 40% of the body mass and is the muscle responsible for generating most body heat. All types of muscle heat, but because of large amount of skeletal muscle present in the body, the skeletal muscle contributes mostly or most greatly to heat production. So, when we exert ourselves more than normal, extra muscle contractions lead to rise in the body temperature and eventually lead to sweating. The best example here that I can give is when we exercise, when we jog or run, we feel the increasing heat in our body because the sustained muscle movements or the contractions causes the boost of temperature or causes the temperature to arise. As a result, we even sweat and makes our t-shirt wet while we are exercising. Moreover, when body heat falls below optimal levels, when body temperature falls below the temperature set by the hypothalamus of the brain, temperature sensors send a message to the hypothalamus to instruct the skeletal muscles to contract. Therefore, the skeletal muscle increases their activity to make heat, and this is through shivering. Shivering produces random skeletal muscle contractions to generate heat as part of the negative feedback mechanism of maintaining body temperature. So this is true when we are in cold environment or the temperature is very low. So in order to maintain our body temperature, we shiver. To shiver so that the muscles in the blood vessels contract to generate heat. I believe this process was experienced by everyone, so they can reflect from it. Also, when we have a normal temperature, the relaxation of muscle in the blood vessels, this action increases blood flow or releases excess heat through the skin or also leads to sweating. In this slide, as we sit, the gluteus maximus is contracting. So as we sit in a longer time, the gluteus continuously contracts and there would be production of excess heat. And the excess heat is transferred into the surface of where we seated. And we have experienced that after we have seated, we touch the surface of the chair and it feels warm. So this process is responsible for it. Therefore, skeletal muscle is mainly responsible for generating most body heat. And these skeletal muscle contractions maintain body temperature when we are cold, but excessive contractions can lead to the body overheating to the point that the body's metabolic reactions are interrupted. Fourth, muscular system functions for organ protection. How do muscular systems protect organs? In this slide, we are going to base our explanation based on the figure given. From the superficial to deep, these muscles are the external abdominal oblique and the internal abdominal oblique and the transversus abdominis muscles. These three muscle layers are oriented in different directions, as we can observe in the figure. These three muscle layers are oriented in different directions. When these muscles contract, they flex and rotate the vertebral column and compress the abdominal contents so that as they compress the abdominal cavity, they are able to hold in and protect the abdominal organs. To make it simpler, muscles in the torso protect the internal organs at the front, sides, and ribs of the body. The bones of the spine and the ribs provide further protection. And the muscles also protect the bones and organs by absorbing shock and reducing friction in the joints. Moreover, the sixth function of muscular system is it facilitates childbirth. The fifth function of muscular system is it facilitates childbirth. The fetus grows in the uterus, and the uterus are composed of smooth muscles. And during this pregnancy, as the fetus grows, the uterus starts to grow and stretch. When a woman goes in labor, the smooth muscles of the uterus contract and relax to help push the body of the baby through the vagina. Also, the pelvic floor muscles help guide the baby's head down the birth canal. Therefore, smooth muscles that are found in the uterus are very important or relevant during the process of childbirth, for it contracts and expands so that the fetus will be out properly. For the sixth function of muscular system, the muscular system is interconnected with the other systems. So, the other systems cannot work properly without the presence of muscular system. They are interconnected to each other. Here are some of the human systems that I have listed which greatly needs muscular system. Through the help of muscular system, they can work properly. Okay, let's start with respiration. In the process of respiration, the muscles of the thorax are almost entirely in the process of breathing. So here, the major movement produced in the thorax during breathing is accomplished by the dome-shaped diaphragm. Quiet breathing is accomplished by the dome-shaped diaphragm. The dome-shaped diaphragm here is located below the lungs. When the diaphragm contracts, it pushes downward, causing chest cavity to get bigger. The lungs then fill with air. When the diaphragm muscle relaxes, it pushes air out of the lungs. So, when someone dips briefly, it requires more other muscles to work, including those in the abdomen, back, and neck. So, you try it if it is correct. So, let's try it. So, as we experience or observe, it is true that when we breathe deeply, the other parts of muscles are required, such as our abdomen, our back, and neck. Let's continue. The muscles of respiration are also called the breathing pump muscles. They form a complex arrangement in the form of semi-rigid bellows around the lungs. This specialty of muscles are that they are composed of fatigue-resistant fibers and they are controlled both voluntary and involuntary mechanisms. If we want to take a deep breath, we can. And even if we do not think about breathing, the body automatically does it. So, when we are busy, we do not think about, am I breathing? It's automatically breathing. Our body is automatically breathing. So while I am talking, while I am doing work, I am breathing. My body automatically breathe. During breathing, the diaphragm contracts and then relaxes. As the diaphragm contracts, it gets bigger. So what do you think is happening outside the diaphragm? So that there would be space when the diaphragm expands. So let's base our explanation in the given slide or picture or figure. As we can see in the upper rib, 1, 2, between the second and third rib in the left side, there are muscles which are external intercostals and internal intercostals. So as the diaphragm contracts, the external intercostals between ribs elevate the ribs during respiration, and then the internal costals contract during forced expiration or in exhalation, depressing the ribs. So when we inhale, the diaphragm contracts filled with air, and then when we exhale, the diaphragm lets air out, and then the ribs will go back in place, and the process continues. Next, let's continue with urinary system. This system is focused to the urination or the letting out urine from the body. In this system, how does the muscular system help the urinary system or the urination process? The smooth muscles and skeletal muscles make up the urinary system. And the urinary system includes the urethra, bladder, ureter, penis, vagina, and prostate. All muscles in the urinary system work together so that a human can urinate. The dome of the bladder is made of smooth muscles. You can release urine when those muscles tighten, and when relaxed, you can hold the urine. And as you urinate, the muscles involved here are the internal urethral sphincter and the external urethral sphincter. In the figure, we can see a dome shape called the gallbladder. The ureter serves as a passage of urine, and the urine stores up in the gallbladder. So as the human holds his or her urine, the transitional epithelium in the linings of gallbladder distend or gets bigger or gets stretched because of the increasing amount of urine. When we urinate, the urethral openings, there are two sphincter, the internal urethral sphincter and the external urethral sphincter. In here, the internal urethral sphincter and the external urethral sphincter both provide muscle control for the flow of urine. Both of these sphincter surrounds the opening of the bladder to urethra and relaxes to allow urine to pass. Because these provide muscle control for the flow of urine. And then, if the human have urinated or the urine has passed the sphincters, urethral sphincters, what happens to the gallbladder? What happens to the transitional epithelium of the gallbladder? Well, the transitional epithelium relaxes, or it goes back to its original form. So that happens during the urination. Indeed, muscular system is very important or relevant for the process of urination to let waste out. Third, let's continue or move on to circulation. Circulation is the pumping of blood to all parts of the body, transporting nutrients needed by every cells in the body. Muscular system is very important here because the muscle, the type of muscle that is greatly responsible for the circulation is the cardiac muscle that makes up the heart. It is where it performs coordinated contractions that allow the heart and the main force to pump blood traveling all throughout the circulatory system of a human. As the blood was pumped by the heart, the blood goes into the arteries, to the veins, and to the capillaries into its destination, the cells. But during the transport, the blood passes through the arteries. Both in the arteries and veins, smooth muscles are present that plays a further role in the circulation of blood around the body. These smooth muscles maintain the blood pressure and circulation in the event of blood loss or dehydration. When we say dehydration, the amount of water needed by the body is not enough. So, the contraction and relaxation of smooth muscle in the walls of blood vessels help adjust blood vessel diameter and thus regulate the rate of blood flow for stable circulation of blood. And the smooth muscle contractions also move food substances such as bile enzymes through the gastrointestinal tract and push gametes throughout the passageway of the reproductive system. The smooth muscles in the large arteries or veins contract or relax to control the blood pressure. Therefore, in circulatory system, muscular system is very important to help transport nutrients and oxygen and other materials or enzymes to all parts of the body to keep all the cells and the parts of the body to work. And then lastly, let's discuss digestion. Let's know how muscular system functions for the digestive system. Let's review. Digestive system is the process where the food intake is processed and the nutrients are obtained and secreted to all parts of the body. We have already knew the short introduction of digestive system. So, how does muscular system function during the process of digestion? The muscular system allows movement within the body, and most digestive organs are surrounded by smooth muscle tissues. Smooth muscles in the gastrointestinal or GI tract control digestion. The GI tract or the gastrointestinal tract stretches from the mouth to the anus. Food moves through the digestive system with a wave-like motion called peristalsis. Muscles in the walls of the hollow organs contract and relax to cause this movement, which pushes food throughout the esophagus into the stomach. And the upper muscle in the stomach relaxes to allow food to enter, while the lower muscles mix food particles with stomach acid and enzymes. The digested food now moves from the stomach to the intestine by the wave-like muscular contractions called peristalsis, and from here, more muscles contract to pass the food out of the body as stool. Therefore, muscular system functions as a transporter of nutrients to all parts of the body and helps in the digestion through the smooth muscle. A summary of my discussion, I have listed the 6 functions of muscular system. First is the body movement or mobility, in which muscular system allows movement throughout the body. It is the main or major function of the muscular system in the body to allow movement. Second, to maintain posture and stability. Here, the skeletal muscles keep the body in a correct posture and stabilize the body. And third, for the production of heat and temperature regulation. This is also one of the major function of muscular system to produce heat. As we are working, the muscles are also contracting, which results to the production of heat that helps in the regulation of our temperature so that we will have a normal temperature. Fourth, for organ protection. Muscular systems protect organs through the extra-abdominal muscles. Fifth, it facilitates childbirth. The smooth muscles here are very important for the childbirth, And sixth, it helps the other systems which I have listed for respiration, urination, circulation, and digestion. For the respiration, the smooth muscles here, or the muscles in the thorax, are responsible for the respiration. For the urination, the muscular systems or muscles are composed of its own organs, the gallbladder, the urethra, the penis, the kidneys. Our muscles designated for urination is not working. We cannot urinate properly. And for circulation, the main muscle here is the cardiac muscle, which is made up of the heart that pumps the blood, which the blood contains nutrients to be transported all throughout the body. And lastly, for digestion, muscular system here is very important, or because it functions, or it allows the movement of the muscles so that the enzymes from the food will be secreted and be transported all throughout the body. Indeed, muscular system is very important in our body. And that ends my discussion about the functions of muscular system.